Well, welcome to the Kristi Jones Show, where it's all about living your life to the fullest. I'm a life coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate, and I've had wild success in multifamily housing for over 25 years now. I am so passionate about helping others merge their success and lead a fulfilling life, and I bring it all together right here on this podcast. So join me and let's get started to live your life to the fullest. Well, hey, my friend, welcome back. It's so good to see you back here this week. And I've got something a little bit different for you here on the podcast. So, as you know, I have the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle, which is my membership group for high achievers just like you that are trying to create the most success and the most fulfillment in their life. And it is a monthly membership. There'll be a link in the show notes on how to get more information in that. I would love to see you on the inside. But what I want to do this week is I want to share with you a couple of the coaching sessions that are in there for February. I love to talk about self-care at this time of year because it's really something that we kind of put on the back burner. And I'm going to talk about self-care probably in the way that you haven't thought of before. So that's what's coming up. I've got two of the sessions inside the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle. Again, my private membership that you can become a part of, but just go down to the show notes and click the link if you want to learn more about it. All right, I hope you enjoy this episode. And my hope is that you take away some fresh ideas on how you can give yourself what you truly need so you can just be the absolute best version of you. All right, here we go. Let's get started. I want to take a minute and talk about self-care. I want to really bring your mind and your consciousness to the front and center for your own self-care. Self-care is a term like it can just be a really loose term. It can mean a lot of things. People think, oh, it's nail appointments, spa appointments, hair appointments. And that can definitely be ways to, practice self-care. I know I love to take a bath. I have a nighttime ritual that to really wind down and to, nourish my nervous system. And taking a bath is a big part of that for me each night most nights, let's say most nights. But self-care is also so much broader than that. And I want to make sure that you move forward this month, really understanding that you are in charge of your own self-care. Nobody else needs to be responsible for that for you. You need to be the CEO of your own total wellness, mind, body, spirit. You are in charge of that. And you need to really know that whatever you're doing to really pour into your self-care, that absolutely every moment, second, ounce of energy that you put into that is well worth it. It is well worth it. It will pay you tenfold. If you're not feeling the big benefit from it right now, just give it time. Trust me. As you move down the line, you will one day go, oh my gosh, I feel so different because I am nourishing myself. I am taking care of myself because I know you and you're demanding a lot of yourself too. So you have to make sure that you're showing up for yourself with good, solid, really grounded self-care. So yeah, some of those things like, go get your pedicure, get your nails done. All of that is great. Here's some things that I want you to consider as you move through the month and you're really analyzing, do I really give myself what I need in terms of self-care? So here's a few questions and you can journal about these. Ask yourself each week, these are great questions to ask yourself. How did I take care of my physical health this week? What did I do this week to really take care of my health, my physical health? What are some things that you've done this week? Ask yourself, what did I do this week to take care of my emotional health? What have I done this week to really shore up and support and nurture my emotional well-being? Ask yourself that question. Write it down. Another thing that you can ask yourself each week is, what is it that I would like to make more time for? What would I like to have more time to do? To more time to experience? Track that. Ask yourself week by week. Your answer is going to change as you go, right? So what your answer might be this week, 3 weeks from now, it might be something else. The main thing is you need to be connected to that. You need to be thinking about that. What is that? Another question to ask yourself each and every week when it comes to your self-care: what brought me joy this week? What brought me so much joy? And on the flip side of that, what was absolutely draining for me this week? Is there something that I did this week that just sucked the life right out of me, that I found so exhausting? What is that? Be aware of what that is. Maybe you can't change that immediately, but you need to be cognizant of it. You need to be aware of that so that you can move to doing things that bring you joy, that fill your cup, and move away from the things that just pull it all out of you, that just zap you, that make you feel less than, that make you feel depleted, that just exhaust you mentally, emotionally, physically. Be aware of those. So track that. Ask those questions to yourself each and every week. Those questions will help you form the type of self-care that is just right for you. All right, till next time, I will see you on the inside. We're going to talk about self-care right now. And I know that word, probably when I say self-care, that may seem, two things I find when I say that and I start talking to someone about their self-care practices. One, they think it's a little overindulgent, or two, self-care kind of has this superficial meaning that comes with it, at least in today's culture, and where it's all the indulgent things of, oh, that means I've got to, go to the spa or get my hair done, or, all the, I don't know, all the little extra things that we might do for ourselves. But that is a type of self-care, and that can be. But I want to dive into and talk about self-care is really much, much deeper than that, and has many, many facets and many arms. And it's really important how important self-care is to our overall well-being. Now, me, possibly you, and a ton of other women out there have a problem sometimes spending time on our self-care. We feel guilty, or we feel that there's possibly other things, a million other things that we could be doing. Maybe it seems a little overindulgent. It seems a little too focused, like too much focus on me. Self-care can come across a little frivolous at times, but self-care, if you look at it in this way, that self-care is one of the facets, or one of the arms, one of the areas that of your life that if you do not take care of, that it will catch up with you. And we talked about, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. I think there are a few videos ago, I talked about how we can't give what we don't fill ourselves up with. So self-care, so many different ways you can take care of that for yourself. And really, self-care is, think of maybe a better word might be nourishing, ways to nourish yourself. And the self-care and nourishing yourself, that is so key in your emotional well-being and your physical well-being. So to neglect your self-care is really, in the long term, you're really hurting yourself in your overall well-being. And as we get older and as we age, taking really good care of ourselves is so important. It's always important, no matter what your age. But as we get older, and if we continue to neglect our self-care, it catches up with us, and it catches up with us in ways that are really not too much fun. So let's talk about some regular ways for self-care, some really basic things for self-care. Self-care can be regular sleep schedule. It can be spending time out in nature. Self-care can be really, if you have a hobby, anything that brings you pleasure or happiness, if you have a certain hobby or activity, allowing yourself time to do that hobby, that is a form of self-care. The gratitude worksheet that I had talked about in the previous video and shared with you guys a couple weeks ago, practicing gratitude is a way to nourish yourself. Oh, it is a form of self-care. Gratitude, expressing gratitude, not only in your journaling and in your writing, but expressing gratitude to others, verbalizing that and sharing that. That is a form of self-care. That is nourishing yourself and your soul when you recognize all the things that you're grateful for. So really, you can break down self-care to real basic things. Eating healthy, that is self-care. Moving your body, doing exercise that feels good for you, that is self-care. So self-care can get, you can really just simplify that down to doing things that make you feel good, that bring you happiness, that bring you joy. And honestly, the scope and the range of that is so wide, and it's very individual. But why I want to talk about that this month is because, one, we as women, we kind of put ourselves at the end of the line, and we neglect to take care of ourselves and to nourish ourselves. We put everyone else's needs before ours. And there is a time and place for that, but there's also a time and place to put yourself at the top of the list and to do practices and do things in your everyday, that give you that nourishment that self-care gives you. And so self-care really can't become this, oh, I'm going to do it once a month. You don't put gas in your car once a month. Most likely you don't. Maybe you do. But I mean, anything that you're using on a continual basis, you have to replenish it. I eat food out of my refrigerator every day. And if I don't restock that on a regular basis, eventually there's no food for me to get out of the fridge. So I look at self-care as a definite necessity, something that's a non-negotiable. And again, taking walks, getting out in nature, regular sleep, regular and consistent sleep schedules, eating well, hydrating your body, drinking lots of water. I'm a big sunshine, vitamin D person. So getting some daylight and letting that sun just kind of hit your skin a little bit, even if it's through a window. If it's cold outside, but the sun's still coming in, sit by that window and let that natural light just really heal. It's so healing. And so I encourage you to look at self-care instead of this glossy, fancy schmancy, got to do all these things and get my nails done or get my hair and those are things of self-care too. I mean, makes you feel good, it uplifts you, and you're taking good care of yourself. So that definitely is one of the things, but it's truly not what it's all about. There's just some real basic forms of self-care that are much more important. So I want to encourage you to examine your own day, your own week, examine your life, and get real honest with yourself of, am I giving myself, am I nourishing myself enough in this area of self-care? And February being the month of, I look at February as the month of love. I think of that a lot. And it's not so much in the romantic sense of love. Well, Valentine's Day definitely can be that. But I look at it more in a much more broader spectrum of love of life, love of caring for yourself, love for not just the romantic love that you may have in your life now, but there's many types of love that make up our world. And so it's important that the relationship that you have with yourself, the love that you have for yourself, that is on your agenda each and every day. So self-care is a way to love yourself. And it's really, I said this, I don't remember what week I talked about this, but I talked about the relationship you have with yourself is one of the most important relationships that you'll ever have. And so you need to give time to yourself. Maybe it's reading. Maybe you just really enjoy sitting and reading a book for, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, more time if you have it available. But that really fills you up and you love that. That is a form of self-care for you. So you want to make sure that you put blocks of time in your schedule to allow yourself time to do that. So self-care is nourishing both emotional health and physical health. Stress, if I just kind of go and talk about that for a minute, but the effects that stress has on our bodies and our minds has been proven over and over and over to be the culprit of so many ailments that can happen to our bodies. And a way to manage even the daily stress. If you have chronic stress in your life, this is even much more important to practice. But just to balance out just the daily stress that we entail in the course of a day, that self-care helps kind of balance that out because you're nourishing yourself. So you may have this stressful situation going on maybe this evening or in tomorrow afternoon, and you see it on your calendar and you're like, oh, that's already starting to stress you out a little bit. It's even more important to give yourself more love and more self-care. So, ladies, we are masters at juggling a lot of things. And obviously, if you're here in the inner circle, my guess is that you definitely fit that bill per se. You fit that slot. You juggle a lot of things. You're used to balancing a lot of things in your life and being of support to other people. And in order to do that in a way that feels good to you and does not build feelings of resentment towards others, is to make sure that you are nourishing yourself with really good self-care that's unique to you and giving yourself time to do those things. So take a look at your calendar. This is what how I advise people. Like if you're really, really struggling in the area of nourishing yourself and giving yourself time for different ways that you can give yourself the self-care. Do the time blocking where you look at your calendar and just map out the week. And if you're not sure exactly what you might do, so because some people just get locked up and I don't even know what I would do. Okay, well, let's just stop here and let's just look at your calendar. Get out your phone. If you have a paper, like what am I trying to say? Like a planner. I have one of those and the word was escaping me. If you have a planner, open it up. Open up your phone. open your email calendar, whatever you use, but look at it right now, and find the time slots of, you can block out 10 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't worry about what you're going to do yet. Just put down self-care. Put down your name. I would put Kristi's self-care. Block out that time. And then that, when you get it on your calendar, then you can get to work at thinking what that might be, what activity you might do, whether it's reading, whether it's taking a bath, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's your hobby. Okay. So first block out the time and get that done. So you're committed, and it's appointment. It's just like having a doctor's appointment. And then go back once you get it scheduled, and then put some thought into what you might fill in that time slot. Okay. Well, hey, my friend, I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this week's episode on self-care. And what I shared with you, just want to do a quick wrap up for you. What I shared with you today are a couple of my coaching sessions that are inside my private membership group for women called the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle. And in February, I love to bring up this topic of self-care because, like I said before in the podcast that you just heard, a lot of times as women, we put ourselves at the bottom of the list, put ourselves on the back burner. And in order for us to really show up in our lives and be the best version of ourselves, we have to do things that fill us up, that pour back into us. So I hope that your takeaway from this week's episode is that I've kind of broadened your mind and your viewpoint on all the things that can be included in self-care. And it's not just some of the little fun things that we think of, but that's really individual. And I hope that this conversation in this episode really kind of spurred some new ideas that you could come up with for yourself. That's going to be that version of self-care that's really going to fill you up and light you up and give you what you need so you can show up every day and be in your best self. So if you are interested in the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle, just go down below in the show notes and there'll be a clickable link. It is a month-to-month membership. Like I said, it's a private membership group for women that really want to focus on their confidence, their personal growth, taking their life to the next level. I give you everything that you need to flourish and thrive in your life, both personally and professionally. It's that ongoing support. And I cover a variety of topics inside this membership. So if that's you and you think, yeah, I want a dose of that in my life, I want a place to go and tap into every week and to get plugged in to a community and to get coached up. So if that's you, go below and click the link to find more information about the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle. I would love to see you on the inside. So until next week, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. I want to thank you for tuning in today to the podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed the conversation and all the info that's been shared today. And I hope you've come away with a few ideas on how to make the most out of it for your life. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family. And also make sure you subscribe to the podcast and tap that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Also, it would mean the absolute world to me if you would leave a podcast review. So until next time, my friend, keep flourishing and thriving and live your life to the